very much, Sandra. We just move on to our next speaker, who is Nick O'Brian. Nick is an activist in Norfolk People's Assembly, and he's also representing Stop the War Coalition here as well, so I'll just pass you on to Nick.
Thanks, Jan. We found out yesterday that we now live in a county where 27,000 children live in poverty. The poverty needs assessment put together by Norfolk County Council proved that more than a quarter of children in Norfolk live in low-income families where they struggle to make basic needs like food, clothing and heating. We found out the day before that the worst is still yet to come, and that £169 million worth of cuts and savings are on the cards at Norfolk County Council. What does this mean? This means that at every department of County Hall, including children's services and the fire and rescue services, they'll be asked to cut by a quarter over the next 3 years. And this follows nearly 250 million of cuts since 2011. And we have to say today that in the 7th richest country in the world, this is not okay, and we will fight against it. The protests, and this protest today and the others that have gone on around the country since the election, are a marker. And they're a marker to send a message to this government that they're opposed on the first day of their programme, and they will be opposed across the country on every single day of their government. And we should say that it's not okay. It's not okay that the poorest people pay for the wrongs of the bankers. It's not okay to tell trade unionists they'll be under attack and that you'll make it harder to strike. It's not okay to have an equalities minister who voted against gay marriage. It's not okay to tell Muslims that if they think the wrong thing, the government will close their mosques for thought crime. It's not okay to sell off social housing to private landlords and not build public housing. And it won't be okay until it stops, and until Cameron, Osborne, Gove and May and the rest are driven out from government. So we've looked at their side, but comrades, we also need to look at our side, because we can't sit back and watch it happen. We also need to say that it won't be okay unless we march. It won't be okay unless we protest. And all roads now need to lead towards a national demonstration on the 20th of June. We need to reach into every workplace, every community, and we need to make sure that everyone we know, whether they've been on a protest before or not, if they're opposed to austerity, they need to be at that demonstration in London, because it won't be okay unless we have the biggest demonstration that we've had for many years. But I think we also know that that on its own won't be enough. A one-off march will not be enough. So we need to support every opposition that there is to this government, whether it's strike action, peaceful direct action. We need to throw our weight between anyone who is against the government. If you're against the government, you are on our side. But I'm also speaking today on behalf of Stop the War, and I just want to say on foreign policy, we need to be clear that the narrow majority for Cameron will encourage the warmongers who have been wanting Cameron to take a more robust approach to foreign policy. These people, they want a return to the glory days of the empire, they want to back NATO expansion and a more aggressive attitude to Russia. We know that they will oppose cuts in the military and they will support Trident renewal in the name of defence. And if there's one cut that we would support, I think we'd all here today support a cut to Trident. We should not be spending money on that. But the anti-war movement can give us hope. I hope some of you saw the brilliant film We Are Many recently. And you know, holding the biggest global demonstration ever didn't stop the war in Iraq. So was it pointless? I say no, because it changed attitudes to war over a period of time. Consistently, 70% of the population now are anti-war when they're polled. It led to Tony Blair being utterly, harassed wherever he goes in the country, which I think is great. It led to MPs realising they had no choice but to vote against war in Syria. So that had a massive impact, and it shows that if we fight together, over time, we will win together. But war was the issue that was ignored at the last election, and we need to say to this government that there was a reason for that, because they know that the people are completely opposed to their view on war. And we need to say to the government, if you bring war to us, we will bring war to you. We will oppose every single war that they start. And Tony Benn, just to finish, Tony Benn used to say that the way that you get people going, the way that you build these magnificent demonstrations, is to fire up the flame of injustice at what's wrong in the world, but also to give people the flame of hope for a better world. Now, when I was putting this speech together, I just thought there's a whole lot of injustice I can talk about, but there's not really very much hope. But you know, we are hope, we're hope, and we need to spread that hope to everyone else. And if we spread that hope around, we can create that much better world that Tony Benn and others wanted. So solidarity, build for the 20th of June. Thanks for coming today.